Chaim. Farbrengen tonight is honor of Levi's recent birthday. Your bracha v'atzlacha b'gashim sharuchnis. Chaim. Also, Chaim in honor of Leah Bas Emmanuel, whose birthday was today. Shalom and Aliyah. Be good to better for your family or better for all good b'sei Klal Yisrael. Chaim. There's a lot of people who use this expression. No one loves me. I'm so lonely. If only more people love me. What should I do about this? Where does this come from? So, studies show that people who use this kind of expression, it's actually not the fault of everybody else that no one's loving them. Is that their own merachat hayachasim, their own way of relating to others, is at fault, and they're looking at others as an object to give them something. They're looking to receive. And they're closed up, not able to give. And because they're not able to give, that's why they feel so lonely. And therefore they see everyone else as not giving them enough, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking to receive, and they're not looking to actually a real meaningful relationship. They're looking to, what can everyone else give me? How can they make me feel loved? How can they make me feel not lonely? But the truth is that if we were to change the inside, and we were to look at how to see value in giving and helping others, and we feel good about that, then we wouldn't feel lonely. It's that fact we're closed and we don't know what love is about, that makes us feel lonely. But if we were to think about instead not what we're not getting from others, but what we could give to others, and feel good about what we give to other people, we will be a lot happier. There's a Kabbalistic thing with a fan. I put it on 3 times and turned it off. I don't know how it went off 3 times. I want to thank Rabbi Moshe. They did this experiment with these 2 groups of students.
I don't believe.
They gave some money. This experiment was this. They took these 2 groups of students and they gave them some money, and they were supposed to spend the money to make them happy. And one group of students used the money to make themselves happy by buying lots of food, clothing, music, whatever it was. Another group of students, they used the money to make other people happy. And we all know who was happier. We all know who felt happier. We know before I even finish the story, and the ones who gave to others felt so much happier, right? And you know it's a cliche, you know it before, but it's real. This is the truth. And statistics show that Americans and British citizens of today are far more affluent in a way that the distance between the Jetsons and the Flintstones, and yet, although we're so much more affluent than 50 years ago, we're not as happy as 50 years ago. Why aren't we as happy as 50 years ago? We're far more richer than our grandparents who lived in America, who lived in England. What's the difference? A lot of people on their deathbed, billionaires, what do they regret? They regret they didn't use their wealth to make people happier. So this is something that is in our genes. The Jewish people are blessed with a unique kind of philanthropy and kindness that is the sign of the Jewish people. And the Torah, this week's Torah portion, uses very unusual words to encourage us to be generous. We all know if you miss putting on tefillin one day, it happens, but shouldn't happen, but it happens, you missed something. You were supposed to do it, you didn't do it. Everyone knows that. The Torah doesn't say, if you did this, you made a mistake. It doesn't say in the Torah, you made a mistake. When the Torah says about kindness and charity, and the Torah says if you don't help your brother, you feel better about helping your brother, the Torah says, be careful, it's a mistake. Be careful, don't do this is a mistake, this is a chait. Worse, the Torah says, this is blial, this is like idolatry. Why is the Torah so emphatic when it comes to this mitzvah of kindness, more than anything else? You know if you don't keep shabbos, mistake. You know if you don't keep kosher, it's a mistake. The Torah says about kindness, be careful. If you don't do this, there's a mistake. What's going on over here? So the answer is there's a deeper problem. If a person's missing generosity, the Torah wants us to be aware of this, because it's not just you're missing a detail, you're missing something very fundamental. The sign of the Jewish people is, the 3 signs of the Jewish people, and 2 of them are being kind and being merciful, which is a funny thing, because Jews are known for their brains. We know that 25% of all Nobel Prize winners were Jews. Even though per capita doesn't make sense, the numbers, but yet that's a fact. Not just Jews, but people identified as Jews. And Jews are called the wisest of the nations. The Torah is called the wisdom of the nations. And yet the Jews aren't known. The sign of the Jewish people is not our wisdom. Why? Because there's a lot more about us than our wisdom. Our wisdom is not our selling point. Look at this neighborhood. In this neighborhood, we have all these kinds of organizations that are uniquely Jewish. Let's take Hatzalah, for example. Hatzalah. You can call the ambulance. No, Hatzalah is we're going to get you there faster. You want our brothers and sisters not to have to wait for an ambulance and get you there faster. Okay, Hatzalah is great. Hatzalah is an obvious thing, right? But how about Chaverim? Chaverim, just last Friday, this guy had his battery was dead. He was stuck in Walgreens. Chaverim, we will come to you. I mean, if you're not Ashkenazi, you don't have AAA, so you call Chaverim, and they come to you and they give you a new battery, and I don't want to over advertise, but they will go for you and they will answer your call and they will try to help you. Why? Chaverim, it's a group they have in Diego also, I'm sure. Yedidim, different groups. Well, let's say you heard about Ravim. You know what a Ravim is? A Ravim is this: people contribute to a general fund. And if Chas Hashem, one of the people in the group passes away, then everyone in the group gives money to their family. So it's a huge organization, and they collect about $500,000 for someone who passes away as part of this group. It's in addition to life insurance. Everyone is part of this group. They all and one of the officers of this group was trying to open up a bank account, and the teller was talking to the guy opening up the account. So how do you make money? We don't make any money. This is just a service that we're doing. But what is it? How does it come back? How does it? It was an unheard of thing. A friend of mine was making a family reunion, and his neighbor says to him, "I know you have a very big family. Why? I always see people coming into your house and asking you for charity. You know, the neighbor figured who must be coming to his house to ask for charity. It must be his brothers, his sisters, his cousins, his uncles, his aunts. Then actually, I don't know these people. I don't know these people. They knock on the door, and I help them. Why do you help them? They're not your family. This guy, he wasn't Jewish, nice person, but he said he never heard of such a thing. He gives 25 euros to help save the whales, once a year, and that's his thing. And just this idea of constant giving. They even have gemach. Forget about all. Besides these wonderful organizations, they also have a lot of gemachs, free loan funds. Free loan funds for money. There's also free loan funds for toys. There's free loan funds for furniture. There's free loan funds for clothes, for going to weddings. You want, instead of going to Macy's and leaving the tags in and trying to return it afterwards, you there's a group that will lend you a nice suit or a nice dress to go to the wedding, and you give it back, and it's a gemach. It's free. They even have a free loan fund for sussies, for pacifiers. You need a pacifier. How does a pacifier cost? It costs $3. No, there's a free loan fund for pacifiers, for baby things. So where does it come from? It comes from this. Every Jew is a part of God. And all of us are really one soul. And every Jew says in the Talmud, as a share in the world to come. It doesn't just mean that we will merit to see the coming of Mashiach. We'll merit, God forbid, a person merits to go to heaven, to Gan Eden. It means more than that. It means right now, we are citizens of the future. We are part of something bigger than we think we are. The Maharal says this. It says in the Torah, your heart should not feel bad about giving to your brother. Says the Maharal, if your heart does feel bad, that means it's not your brother. That means there's something in your genes that's missing something. The Zohar says, if you're not generous, the Zohar says, it's a question whether you're Jewish. It's a question whether you come from Zera Aves. It's a question whether you come from our patriarchs. In other words, and I don't think it only means literally whether you're Jewish or not Jewish. I think it also means your Jewishness isn't coming out. There's stuff that's inside of you, but no one knows about it because it's so deep that it's not. It's your Jewishness isn't there. And there are people we know, people who giving wasn't their biggest thing, and then all of a sudden they start to give. What happened? People talk about this dramatic change. This dramatic change that happened in their life, and they started to give. Well, what happened? They started. The Alter Rebbe says it this way. The Alter Rebbe says, there's a lot of mitzvahs, right? A lot of things. Tefillin, Shabbos, kosher, Lashon Hara. We know a lot of mitzvahs. But when you give of your money, it's a lot more. Why? Because we all think about money. We all invest in money. We're all concerned about money. So giving away money is giving away a part of your life. But really it's not giving away a part of your life. It's digging deeper and helping you discover your real life. When you give away your money, it's a game changer. And so people who aren't used to giving away tzedakah, giving away charity, and they start giving away charity, all of a sudden there's a part of them that surfaces that they weren't aware of, that they had. It's something dramatic that happens to you when you begin to give tzedakah, and not just if you begin to give tzedakah, but even if you give tzedakah on a different level. There's a verse in this Torah portion which says, be careful that do not close your hand from your poor brother. The Rabbi Yisrael originally said those words, spells the word Tehillim. Some people, you ask them for help, what do they say? They say, I'm going to pray for you. That's not enough. Some people, when you ask them for help, you know what they say? They say, oh, well, my brother also helps. My brother needs help, my cousin needs help, my sister needs help, and I don't help them. You think I'm going to help you? Anyways, but some people, whatever, some people. All of us have a point that we're ready to go and give, and a point that we don't. And when you go beyond that point, we peel a layer. We discover something deeper about ourselves. That the Talmud says this. The Talmud says every person comes to the world with their hands closed. Everyone leaves the world with their hands open. Someone was telling me yesterday about their 93-year-old mother-in-law, Gesund, who was so bitter and vicious that she promised her daughter that she's going to spend every last penny and not leave her with anything. She's 93, and she's concerned about making her daughter's life better after she dies. She wants to make sure to spend every last penny. But at some point, maybe for some people 93 is too young, but at some point you open your hands. At some point, you come to the world, your hands are closed. But at some point you open your hands. Your hands are closed, so you want to get. But at some point you open your hands and you're saying, you know what, I can't really get anything from this place. The Talmud says a story about this fox. This fox goes into this garden, and he wants to have some fruit. So the fox sneaks into the fence to get into the garden, and the fox eats and eats and eats and eats, and when the fox eats after 3 days, the fox is very full, Talmud says, and the fox wants to leave the garden. But the little crevice that it crept through to get into the garden is now too small for it to leave the garden. So what does a fox do? Talmud says a fox fasts for 3 days. After it fasts for 3 days, it loses enough weight that goes back into the crevice. So the fox says to the garden, garden, you're beautiful, but from your fruits I cannot enjoy. I came here hungry, and I left here hungry. And that's it, the way it is in this world. That we're born with closed hands. We're disturbed by our ego. We feel like we have to get, and eventually we realize we can't really get anything. You know what it's like? Someone comes to your house, right? And they say, hey, is Yankel there? You know, the Yankel's not home right now. Okay. They come back to him and says, Yankel home. No, Yankel's not here. You come back another, and they turn around, there's Yankel here. That's analogous to trying to get satisfaction from acquiring more resources. You acquire more money, you get more resources, and you think that's going to really satisfy you. It's not. It's like you're going to the same house, asking for the same guy, and it's not going to work. Why isn't it going to work? The Talmud says simply because you can't get more than half of what you want. Because as soon as you get something, you want double. If you want, Talmud says, if you have $100, you want 200. If you have 200, you want 400. So a person does not die before getting more than half of what they want. Just impossible. It's mathematically impossible. But yet we get caught up. And there was a guy who's giving away lots and lots of money. One of his friends said, "Why are you giving away so much money?" So the guy says, "Listen, in the world to come, you can't bring any money with you, but you could send something there in advance." In other words, you give tzedakah, you're building your real castle and in the sky for real. So the Talmud says this. In this week's Torah portion, God says, "Be careful, let your heart be blial, let it be idolatrous." Rabbi Shimon Karcha says that if you ignore someone's need for charity, you turn your eyes away, it's like idolatry. Why is it like idolatry? If you feel that what you're getting is from God, God's giving it to you, you're not going to be stingy. You're not going to hold it for yourself. As it says in Ethics of Our Fathers, give him what's from his, Because you want what you have are his. If you felt that what you have is not yours, you would give. Well, why do you keep it to yourself? Because you feel it's really mine. Yankel had a wise wife. Her name was Sprinza. And Yankel knew whenever he had an issue, he goes to Sprinza. Yankel's daughter's Lat is getting married. What do? He can't afford a wedding. Of course, he goes to his wise wife, Sprinza. Sprinza, what do we do? His Lat is getting married. Sprinza says, very simple. We're going to ask God for help. Well, how do we do that? Simple. You send a letter in the mail. Send a letter in the mail to God, and God is going to help us. Okay, how do we send a letter? Just put it in the mailbox. He puts the letter in the mailbox. The mailman comes, picks up the letter, and he sees a letter addressed to God. What is this? He opens a letter, and there's no stamp on it. He says, this guy asking for money. He says, I need this amount of money for the wedding, this amount of money for the apartment, this amount of money for the furniture. He says, it's a request for money. I'll send it to Baron Rothschild. Rothschild, he helps people. I'll send it to Rothschild. He takes the envelope, he mails it to Baron Rothschild. Rothschild gets the letter. Rothschild is amused. It says, God, care of Baron Rothschild. It sounds pretty good. So he says, I'm going to send this, he tells the secretary, I want to send this guy 40,000. He's asking for 50,000, let's send him 40,000. And he'll make a smaller wedding, a smaller apartment, less furniture. Let's send him 40,000. Guy's so excited. Yankel gets it in the mail. Sprinza, you're the greatest. You know what to do. Amazing. He makes a big kiddush and makes celebration and show God save me. I ask God for help, and all of a sudden got 40,000 ruble in the mail. Fantastic. Next year, his younger daughter's getting married. His younger daughter's getting married too. So he asks his wise wife, Sprinza, what do we do? Our next daughter has to get married. You don't know what to do. I told you last year, do the same thing. You send a letter to God. So he sends a letter to God again. Again, the mailman picks it up. Again, the mailman presented Baron Rothschild. Again, he writes on it to God, care of Baron Rothschild. Again, Rothschild gets it, and Rothschild starts reading it. Rothschild's getting angry. He's getting angry and angrier and angrier. Chutzpah. I helped this guy a year ago. He didn't send me an invitation. He didn't send me a thank you. He didn't send me a picture of the wedding. He didn't do nothing. I'm not going to help this guy. Again, he's asking for money. Chutzpah. And then he reads the PS. Sometimes the PS could be a lot more than the message itself. Like this boy had asked his father for $1,000. He says, Dad, please send me $1,000. And his father sends him back $100. And he said, right, P.S. It's time you learn, my son, that you spell 100 with 2 zeros, not with 3. Anyways, so Baron Rothschild gets the letter. He looks at the P.S. says this: P.S. God, thank you so much, but please, God, do not send the money through Rothschild again, because that guy took 20% the cut. So this actually inspired Rothschild, as the story goes, is to give the whole 50,000. He said he realized that this isn't a gift he's giving. He really is giving from what belongs to Hashem. It really isn't his. And that is what opened up his heart and made him say, I'm going to do this. It's a true story. Not this story. This story I doubt the story is true. The next story I think is a true story. The story is this. This first story is a true for each of us, not true for Rothschild. Second story is this, a true story. There was a diamond merchant in Ranana. He was selling diamonds, and this guy came to sell him diamonds, and he was selling these brown diamonds, these ugly brown diamonds. And he couldn't get anybody to bid on these brown diamonds. So he asked his friend, he says, listen, I'm trying to sell all I have is these ugly brown diamonds. Please do me a favor, can you buy them for me? The guy says, okay, no problem. I'm going to buy them for you for the minimum price. No problem. Comes the day before Pesach. The guy is cleaning through his stuff, and he notices in his safe he has these brown diamonds that he bought a long time ago. And along comes this non-Jewish man who comes to the home, and he says, yeah, he's a diamond polisher. Hey, you have anything for me? He says, actually, yeah. He said, I'll do this guy. I'll do a double mitzvah. I bought these diamonds just for tzedakah. This poor non-Jewish man also needs charity. I'm going to hire him to polish the diamonds, and it'll be a double mitzvah. He gives him the diamonds. The guy starts polishing them. True story. They were actually white diamonds, which are worth far, far more. It was the best deal he ever made in his life, before or after. That deal. The old brown diamonds, but beneath the surface, something else. This is the meaning of this following passage in the Talmud. The Talmud says we don't understand. We read in all the books of the Torah about idolatry. Everyone's doing idolatry, big sin. Everyone's making idols. Like Does anyone like have a taiva? Anyone has a desire for idolatry? Does idolatry appeal to you? Like, oh, tonight, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get an idol. It doesn't talk to us. How come it doesn't talk to us? How come we read in the Torah about all these like idols and we're so into it? You know why? Because Talmud says that they took the angel of idolatry and they locked it up and it's no longer effective. The question is, how does that make sense? It's an angel. They locked up an angel, so the explanation is they actually switched the angel. They switched the direction of the angel. Instead of the angel trying to get us to serve idols, the taiva, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination for idolatry was switched to money, a desire for money. The desire we have for money is instead of the desire for idolatry. Randall Futafas used to say, there were great people, very big people, with a little bit of money. These big people became very, very small. So this is the Torah's instruction to us. People come to the world with their hands closed. I want it all for myself, but they leave, they open their hands. The Torah is telling us, don't get confused by your ego and don't think your happiness is by putting yourself in the center. And as Or HaChaim said about the poor man, this week the Torah talks about giving to the poor man. Who is the real poor man? Or HaChaim says, the poor man is Mashiach. HaToiv l'chol davar. Mashiach told Rabbi ben Levi that he's waiting to redeem the Jewish people, and that's what he wants. So how do you help the poor man Mashiach to come to reveal himself? It's by actually reaching out to those who need something, who are poor in some way. And everyone's poor in the same way. Some people are poor for compliments. They need a compliment. Some people are poor for money. Some people are poor. But when we open up and we reach out and we lift someone else up, it's the biggest gift we can give ourselves. There's a verse in the Torah when God tells Moshe Rabbeinu, before Moshe redeems the Jewish people, Moshe asks God, what's your name? What does God say? What's his name? I will be what I will be. What does it mean, I will be what I will be? My name is I will be what I will be. What kind of funny name is that? It sounds very weird. My name is I will be what I will be. Nachmanides says, God says, I will be what you will be. I will be what you will be. You open up, and I will open up. That's why the Torah's commandment of tzedakah is written in a double expression. The Torah's commandment for tzedakah is, open shall you open. What's that? Open shall you open. What's open shall you open? What does that mean? Open, Hashem says, I'm going to open. How am I going to open? By you opening. I will open when you open. Hashem says, I will be what you will be. There was a Jew, his name was Rabbi Chaim Eliezer Rosenfeld. And his grandfather had this place, an organization he began called Bayit LaPleitot. People after World War II need a place to go. And he made this home for people, for refugees. And his grandson took over this organization, and today it helps girls who come from homes that need another place to go, and they help them with their academics, they help them get married, they help them get their life set up. So this Rabbi Chaim Eliezer Rosenfeld, he's approached one day one of the staff members. There's a girl in this facility who doesn't have clothing. So he's thinking, well, if I give, if I do this, I do that, and I'll deposit and I'll withdraw and I'll get it cleared by the board, and by next Tuesday I'll be able to get her address. Then he's thinking, next Tuesday get her address? She needs a dress now. He just opens his own wallet, gives his own money. Forget about getting money from an organization. I'll just give her my own money. Why should this girl have to wait till Tuesday to get a dress? Why should she have to wait? By the way, Rabbi J.J. Hecht, all of a sudden was Yartzeit actually just recently on the 15th of Av. He ran many organizations. One of them was the girls' camp in the Catskills, Amuna. And there was a girl who had only one dress. She had only one dress. And he saw this girl among hundreds of other girls. He asked the counselors, what's going on with this girl? She only has one dress. He said, okay, I'll take care of it. He himself went. You know how busy, this guy's like a mayor. He had so many organizations under him. He himself went, and the first thing he did was he came back and bought so many dresses for this girl. Back to our story with Chaim Eliezer Rosenfeld. So he gives of his own money, so this girl shouldn't have to wait till Tuesday. He gives her he gives on the Tuesday before, he gives money to the staff member, buy her a dress today. Okay. That Wednesday night, there's a excursion for all the girls. They're all going to go to the resting place of Reb Meir Baal HaNes. After Meir Baal HaNes, they're going to go to Miron, to Tzfas, to visit the resting place of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Eliezer. And they come to Reb Meir Baal HaNes, and they get out of the car. And there's a bus for the girls, and the rabbi is going with his wife and their boys in the car. He has a boy who is a yeshiva student. He has an 8-year-old, and he has his 2-year-old son, Naftali. He gets out of the car, and the girls all get out of the bus. They stop there. And one of the girls says, "Hey, why don't you come up to the bus and give us a Torah class in the bus? We're traveling." He had another driver who was driving the car anyways. "Why don't you come and come on the bus and give us a Torah class? You've got to take the microphone on the bus and give us a Torah class." He said, "Okay." Meanwhile, his 2-year-old jumped jumping out of his seat, and one of the girls says, "Oh, I want Naftali. You know, like little girls like playing with a little boy. I'm saying like this 15-year-old girls. Oh, there's a toy. There's a little 2-year-old. Let's bring him to the bus and we'll have a toy. You know, like a toddler. It's fun to play with a little kid." So, but the father and mother like, "What are you doing with our son? No, don't worry." And she brings him in the bus, and he's on the bus anyway. It's okay, whatever, forget it. He goes in the bus, and the girl takes Naftali onto the bus. Meanwhile, start going. And he is standing in the bus. He's looking towards he's in front of the bus, looking toward the back of the bus. And all of a sudden, he sees people in the back of the bus. They're standing, they're screaming, and the girls in the bus are looking, and they hear the girls saying, "That's the principal's car. That's the principal's car." And he comes out of the bus. He got so nervous, and he sees a whole son, 2 bodies, and he's stretched out on the ground. And he's so concerned. This is his wife, this is his sons, what's going on? Unfortunately, there was a car accident, and his wife got hurt. His oldest son got hurt, not so bad. His son, the 8-year-old, had a significant injury in his eye. Baruch Hashem, he recovered. His 2-year-old, the place where his 2-year-old was sitting, there's no door. The impact was exactly where he was sitting, exactly where his car seat was. If he would have been, there was no question that he wouldn't have survived. Who was the girl who took the boy out of the car? The girl he bought the dress for. The girl he bought the dress for. That was the girl who took the boy out of the car. So the bottom line is that we think we're helping others, but the emphasis is that spiritually and physically, whatever we open ourselves up to helping others, we're really opening ourselves up to receive. As the Hebrew word for giving, natan, we can read it 2 ways. Natan and natan goes 2 different ways. When you give, you're actually receiving. So bottom line is, let's learn from this Torah portion, live with the times, open ourselves up, and as Orach Chaim says, that Mashiach is the one who is poor. By helping anyone who is poor, whatever it is, that's how we bring Mashiach. The Mashiach is already about to come, and we're going into now the month of Elul, when this is the first station of the new year, this coming Shabbos. Shabbos blesses the month of Elul. This is the first station of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Simchas Torah. It all begins now. So it's a way to begin. The best way to begin is with chesed, with kindness and love. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim v'rachim, l'chaim v'rachim.
This one here and this one there.
We're not done. We're going to say l'chaim. Where are you going?
Okay, no, just...
The Hebrew word for giving 10%, ta'aser, is written in the Torah next to another word which also means to give 10%. Aser ta'aser. 10% of 10%. What's 10% of 10% mean? So if you take the word ta'aser, take each letter of that word, taf is 400. What's a tenth of 400? 10 of 400 is mem. What's a tenth of 70? Ayin? No, Zayin, 7. What's a tenth of shin, of 300?
Gimel.
Lamed. Lamed is a tenth of 30. What's a tenth of reish, 200? No, it's late at night. 20. So you have the word mazolcha. Your mazel. The Sarah Shalom says you're giving 10%. This is your mazel. You're giving of yourself. You think you're giving, but ados, that's your mazel. You know, I need mazel. That's your mazel. Your mazel is what you give. Not your mazel, good mazel.
Yeah, me.
Everybody have a good mazel, big mazel, the Gashmi.
Amen.
We're like in a revelation. This is not a shield. This is mamash galut. Let me first land back here.
Why? Why would you on the land? Keep on going.
I'm old. Keep flying.
David, can I say a story about David? Can you want to tell us your story today? Can you tell us your story? You want to tell us your story? You're a humble guy.
Yeah.
Tell us. Go ahead.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So
Tell
I
us.
have a friend who's an Israeli Jew, and I knew him because he worked for an organization that's part of the Archdiocese, Catholic Archdiocese, volunteering. But he called me and said, I'm working at Union Rescue Mission, and all the kids are bored because there are absolutely no games for any of the kids. Do you have some games? And I thought, and I don't have any games because I'm by myself and my family and everything is far back. So I decided to go to Target this morning and bought a whole bunch of, filled the back of my car with games. And just brought it there this morning. And he was saying, well, he was trying to ask me, you know, I don't exactly know what. And I said, no, I'm outside of your place right now, parked with the games. Can you come outside? So he came outside and
That's how it happens. That's how it happens.
it was good.
That's awesome.
It was very good.
Apparently, there's an effect on the brain also that you can physically see when a person gives. I don't know what it's called. It affects the brain when a person gives.
Oh, and Rabbi, what I didn't tell you was
Tell me.
my roommate, the guy that rents the other room, is going to Goodwill tomorrow with his friend, and they're going to buy all the games they can find at Goodwill.
Wow.
Great.
And I'm sure it's going to have another ripple effect. That's how it works. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. Kol kavod. Chaim, Rabbi.